When I was 16 years old, I bought my very first guitar pedal, a Boss OS-2, and I did so basically against my will. I was at a guitar center looking to buy a tube amp, and the sales clerk was on his A game. He told me, with my dad standing over my shoulder, that if I cranked that tube amp to get distortion tones in my bedroom, I was going to drive everyone in my house crazy. What I really needed was to keep the sound of the amp clean and use a pedal to get distortion tones. I didn't know anything about guitar pedals and didn't even know what to ask him for, so he trotted to the front of the store and came back with this one. He told me that with this magic color knob, I was going to have a variety of sounds available. I played it for like 5 minutes in the middle of a noisy guitar center, barely hearing the things I was doing, and said, "What the heck, it's just all of the minimum wage money that I've saved from my summer job." It's an understatement to say that I was disappointed with this effect when I got home. It didn't sound like I wanted my guitar to sound. The point of today's video is for me to revisit the Boss OS-2 and try to give it another chance. I'm confident that there are good sounds in here, and I just don't really know what they are. According to the Boss website, the OS-2 gives players a choice of overdrive or distortion, or lets them combine both, all in a single compact pedal. Its distortion maintains the subtle nuances of single coil pickups. If you look at the first three controls here, level, tone, and drive, those are like your normal overdrive pedal, distortion pedal knobs. What makes this pedal sort of unique is this color knob, which I kind of think of as a voice knob. On the far counterclockwise side, you get OD, I guess, for overdrive, and on the far clockwise side, you get DS for distortion. You can get a pretty wide variety of sounds just by sweeping through the color control, which is what I'm going to try to show you now. Now, when I first bought this thing, I probably swept through the range of sounds on the color control, but I don't remember doing very much of that as an owner of this device. I seem to remember keeping color at 3 o'clock, drive at 3 o'clock, and tone like at or just below noon, basically all the time. And I'm not even going to demo that sound for you because that's not a sound that I like. And I'm not here to talk about sounds that I don't like in this pedal. I already know enough about those. That's why I sold it years ago. Instead, I want to spend time looking at 5 sounds that I do really like in this pedal. And my inspiration for choosing or looking for these sounds was some of the sounds that I know I like and want because I've used sounds like them in recordings that I've made or in recordings that I am making at the moment. The first sound that I dialed in is what I think of as like a basic kind of light overdrive sound. I've got the drive at a minimum at 0. The tone is back at about 9 o'clock, and the color is pretty far on the overdrive side. It's like kind of just been lifted above the minimum there as well, and I've got level set to taste. This seems like it would be a really useful kind of basic, slightly dirty guitar sound. For the second sound, I tried to go in a completely different direction. I have a few songs that are kind of riff-based where I like to have something that sounds really heavy, I guess. I don't really play metal, but I'm imagining sort of more like a White Stripes or Black Keys, low string, riffy tone, almost with a fuzz-like character. And I felt like I was able to get this with these settings. I've got it all the way on the distortion side over here. Again, I'm being pretty judicious with the tone, and with the drive at noon right up the middle. This seemed to give me what I would describe as a fuzzy sound, but actually some of the brightness that seems to be prevalent however you use this pedal was really, really nice. I was playing with the neck pickup and it kind of had this like pop to it, even though the rest of the sound was still really distorted. It sounded big, but still bright. It's the kind of thing that I think works really well for some of these riffs, and I was glad to be able to find it. For the third sound, I wanted something that had kind of a chiming character with its distortion. Again, that's a buzzword that might mean nothing, but I wanted something that would be bright and clear, but also still have like a gain sound. And this is where I arrived. I've got the color knob in one of these in-between positions. It's at like 1 or 2 o'clock. And then I guess about 10 o'clock on both the tone and the drive. I think this sounds really good. And the other context in which I really liked it is that I've been known to spend too much time just playing variations on Yellow Ledbetter, and this is like a sound that I think would work really well for the solo section in that song. When you really break out and you want to show just how well you know your 9th fret pentatonics, this sound will work for you. Speaking of pentatonics, I don't really consider myself a very good soloist, but sometimes I have to solo in my songs, and I wanted to look for a tone that I would use on a very specific solo in one of my songs, which is kind of, it's supposed to have like a searing lead guitar sound, bright but also fairly distorted, almost kind of cheesy. I'm going to be honest. I wanted it to sound cheesy when combined with my pentatonics, and this seemed to do the job. I've got the color at about 3 o'clock, so really leaning toward the distortion end. I've kind of got like a V-shape, going with the tone and the drive. Again, my tone just lives beneath noon. That's where this pedal sounds the best to me. But, you know, I'm using a Telecaster, which is a bright guitar. I think this sounds pretty sick, and I honestly can't wait to use it when I track this exact solo in my current recording project. For the fifth sound, I was trying to capture another very specific sound. I have this song where I play these like add 9 chords or something in this ascending pattern, and it's actually one of the very first songs that I ever wrote, and I probably played it with this pedal generating the sound that is now in my head, but it's got a very specific, just like bright, but also like washed out distortion sound. And that's what I was able to find right here. Again, sort of a more exaggerated V shape with the tone and drive. And then I've got the color kind of just on the overdrive side, just behind noon, maybe at about 11 o'clock. The other thing that I sort of discovered as I was playing around with this is that it's also got kind of it's got a sound that I like on power chords. It's not too chugga-chugga, but it's got a little bit of chugga-chugga. You know, I think that it would fit well in a mix, make those sound pretty defined and also kind of heavy. But in the example, you see that I go to a chord that's actually got like a major third interval rather than just a power chord, and that still rings in a way that I think is really nice. Sometimes when you have a lot of gain and you start to play intervals like thirds or sixths, things can get sort of messy. This doesn't get that messy. I think it sounds really good, and I think that speaks to one of the things you can really use this pedal for. Well, there you have it. Much to my surprise, 5 sounds in this pedal that not only do I like, but I really, really like. If I could go back in time and teach these sounds and, 15 years of songwriting to the person who bought this pedal when he was 16, who knows what my life would be like. Anyway, I'm glad to be here making videos like this and sharing them with you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching this. If you liked it, please like it. Leave a comment, do the things that people do on YouTube. I really like comments, and if you've got beef with this pedal, or if you love this pedal, or if you have a story about something that you bought when you were a beginner and with which you have kind of a love-hate relationship, I would love to hear about it. I'm just fascinated. I'm a nostalgia junkie, and I'm fascinated with the relationships that people build with things when they're young, as I was when I first played one of these. Thanks for coming along for the ride. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you later.